Hello, I'm Matt Guff from thehouse.com. This is Jason Henderson from Burton Snowboards, and these are Burton Malavita bindings, and this is the Burton Malavita series. Hey, Jason, welcome back. How you doing?
Good to be here.
Yeah, Jason's back in the studio, but a new place. This is actually the Burton Minneapolis store in Uptown Minneapolis, and yeah, he's here walking us through the 2020 lineup, and we're at the part where we talk about bindings, and we thought we'd dish out the Malavita series. There's basically three bindings represented here: a reflex, an EST, and then a wingback with the EST. And Malavita is one of our best-selling bindings. It's well-rounded. Jason, you know a lot about them. Why is there three different ones, and what would make someone choose each one?
Well, it's just such a chosen binding from the team. I mean, it's one of the chosen ones.
Ooh, that's
it's one of my, that's my favorite strap binding. I mean, it's just something that a lot of people, just really gravitate towards because it's not crazy stiff, but it's still stiff enough to drive any of the boards in the line. Right. So it's not like this is going to be too soft for a custom X, but it's going to work better on a name drop. You can ride it, anywhere. It just really depends on, what you're looking for. Really the pros, the guys on the team, like Ferguson, Mark McMorris, Danny Davis, a lot of those guys, they run Malavitas. Right. So it's just such a great binding. And, within that, there are, a lot of our rail guys, like Ethan Dice, a lot of they like the wingbacks, but they like the other performance options of the Malavita. So that's, the team asked, for the wingback, and we got to make it for that too.
Yeah.
So
I'm really glad that Burton has kept the wingback within the lineup.
Yep.
There's not very many binding manufacturers that are still doing that, but there's still a pretty dang good need for it. A lot of people are who have them tend to want more of them.
Yeah, they really like it. So, and one that we don't have up, we do have the wingback in reflex as well.
Got it.
So it's not just an EST.
Okay, right.
So all of these are available in both reflex or EST.
Got it. And is that the same case for the Malavita leather, which isn't represented here?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, the Malavita, just such a killer binding that drives every board out there. It's got the 30% fiberglass nylon composite base plate. Yep. So again, fiberglass in with the nylon, just gives you that really good, perfect balance of flex, in my opinion. Right. So, and then reflex. So the mounting hardware, like on this, has a hinge built into it. But what we're interested in is when the board's in the middle of a turn, that board is flexing. The more consistent and true that board can flex, the better it's going to ride. Right. So that's why we make the reflex, and then also with EST, these if the board is flexing, the base plates flex with the board. There's no dead spots in that. Right. So just making the board, just perform a lot better. So, and the benefit of reflex, you can put them on any board out there. Put them on boards, obviously with channel. If you get an old Burton board with the 3D, you can get the disc for that, but also 4-hole.
Right.
So.
One thing I love about Burton bindings and their ability to be ridden with a disc system with the reflex or the EST option is that, they do flex more naturally while you're actually carving and riding, but they're still rigid, both heel to toe.
Yep. So and that's where they spend a lot of time, is figuring out that foot roll. Basically, people can turn boards in a lot of different ways. It's people, surfers, they turn it with just their feet.
Right.
So you don't have to just be 100% locked down to that board.
Right.
To make it turn. Which actually, what we found, and why a lot of pros kind of gravitate towards certain bindings, is that you want to be able to have your foot to roll, which is why like Malavita, it's got an asymmetrical strap where it's a little bit that's kind of cut down in here, so their feet can kind of roll, and you can just make the board do the things it wants instead of just being completely just hammered to the board and not being able to move.
Have your boots move at all.
Yeah.
And another nice little great thing about the asymmetrical style ankle strap, there's less material on the upper medial side and less material on the lower lateral side, and that kind of gives you the opportunity to grab and stylize your grabs more.
Yeah. Also to tweak out and things like that. So. And then one thing, that Malavita has too, that most of our bindings is the hammock straps. So what's nice about those, they're a lot more durable. There's no fabric or anything like that that's going to fray, or it's not going to hold water. They just it's all injection molded pieces, so there's really virtually no waste in the manufacturing of these. So we pull off the mold trees, we trim off all the flashing, all that stuff gets recycled. And other parts, whatever.
Face masks.
Yeah. So that's one thing, and what we found is by being able to engineer it and shape it right and everything, is that they're as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than a traditional strap.
Right.
So
I really like the fact that there's no stitching, that they don't wear out. I've got a lot of bindings with stitch style straps. Yeah, after a couple seasons, after a couple 100 days on them, the seam will blow out. Yep. Eventually, it'll happen. The foam will get kind of squished out.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, depending on where you're riding, it's like if it's kind of sloppy and slushy towards the afternoon, those straps can hold moisture, and all of a sudden you're bored.
Yeah.
Sitting outside, all of a sudden you go ride in the morning, all of a sudden those things are just, you got ice blocks for.
So bad.
So you don't deal with that with any of these. Super Cap 2.0, so something we introduced new, we redesigned it last year. Yeah. So just fits much smaller, it's a lot lighter weight. You don't get any gapping in there. Kind of tough to see on this colorway, but with that there is some silicone, rubber in there to actually grip and mold to different shapes of boots, and it doesn't slide around, that sort of thing. So.
I love how minimal they are, especially on the lower section. So if you are riding a bigger boot and you're riding your toe side edge, you're less likely to catch up, because that is very, very low profile.
So the less material out there, the better.
Right. So. And what's the story with this high back? Because this is a huge piece of tech that the Malavitas always had. It's a heel hammock. Yep. What's the story? Well, how does this make you feel when you ride, or what does it do for you?
So one thing with the heel hammock, what it does is it actually, we design obviously our boots and bindings together, but it grips the backstay of the boot. So when it's kind of locked in, you get the straps kind of cranked down. It actually kind of like moves with the boot. Right. So we find that you can get anchored into the boot and better, basically better friction between the boot and the binding with less strap pressure.
Got it. So it's kind of.
So if your boot fits right, you're locked into the binding. You don't have to crank your straps down as tight.
Right. But you still get that.
You're still locked in, but just less pressure on your feet. Cool. So which less pressure on your feet. They're warmer, or not hurting, that sort of thing.
Right. And remember, it's going to work. The heel hammock's going to work better if your boot is against it, not your pant leg. It still works with your pant leg.
It still works, but if you need less, if you can have just the boot there, that works better. But
I know the cool thing is to tuck your pants into your high backs.
You want people to see the high backs.
You want to make.
Up to you.
Yeah. Right. Unless you get the Mind 77 pants that have the gaiter around it.
Yep. You can kind of just position it wherever you want.
Cool. Now, what would make someone gravitate towards the reflex option or the EST options that we'll find in both the wingback and the regular?
Yeah, so going from reflex to EST, the benefit of EST is that there's no plastic really that you're on. It's all cushy EVA.
Right, which is really thick in the Malavita.
Yeah, so it dampens vibration. It actually offers better. More board feel and better flex, so virtually no dead spots. And you get infinite stance options with this. Right. You can put it wherever you want, because all the mounting hardware is on the outside. You don't have to go into those 3-degree increments with the discs. Right. So you can get your binding whatever angle you want, and also your fore and aft adjustments you can perfectly dial in too. Right. Versus the disc where you're kind of set. You have specific increments you have to go in to get your boot centered. Right. So you get it dialed in perfectly toe and heel, you get better angle options. Yeah, and just the overall ride. In my opinion, I like EST just because it is better board feel, and also you get up into bindings with the hinge on it, so that what that is the heel cup separate from the bottom. Right. So that allows for some lateral movement this way. So you can actually kind of load the heel cup. It actually kind of helps you ollie. It allows for a little bit more of that fluidity in turning and things like that too. So so in my opinion, the EST is definitely the best way to go. Right. And a lot of team members ride them, and they ride both, but The only caveat is that you have to ride boards with the channel.
Right.
They will not work on inserted boards.
But with that, you may not be able to ride every single board out there. Only boards that feature the channel system. But you have infinite possibilities of angles and widths.
Widths, adjustability,
forward
yeah.
half.
You can put your,
You can put it
it's the best
wherever.
binding to board interface.
Right, right. But at the same time, if you have a different style board that has insert packs, the Reflex does a fantastic job, but there just may not be as many possibilities in stance angles.
Yeah, if you have one pair of bindings and you got a quiver of boards from different manufacturers,
Get the Reflex.
yeah, get the Reflex.
Right.
If you want one binding to cover that.
But if you want ultimate possibilities and feel, get the EST with the Burton binding, boot or board.
Yep.
Cool. Well, Jason, man.
Well, if you want to touch,
more.
keep. But wait, there's more. You got the wing back. So we kind of just touched on that earlier. So we find that it's not just the jibbers that this was a concept that we had in bindings years ago. Yeah. So really, what the wing back does is you can ride a softer boot with it, and because you get a lot of good flexibility in this way, but like even free riding, when you're exiting turns and things like that, your boot has got some leverage on the binding, so it gives you some leverage that way. A lot of the freestyle jibbers, they like that because it gives them some leverage to press the board and manipulate the board that way when they're doing nose presses or 5/0 presses, things like that.
Still drop their opposite knee.
Yeah, and they have that spongy, soft boot. So that's kind of but it helps with carving as well.
Right. Yeah, they could be fun to throw in some crazy power surfer too. Get a little extra support.
Don't have bindings.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, but powder boards. Carving boards. Like somebody that's really they want to haul ass on a Custom X.
Stay upright the whole time.
Yeah, and just rip turns. The wing is a good option.
That's good. Well, Malavita's a nice lineup, along with the ruler boot that I'm for some reason gravitating towards. This one's been calling me out a little bit more. I still to this day think the Cartel is the best binding in the world, but
that's why we make it too.
Yeah, but I think something's telling me that I need to be on the Malavita just a little bit more this season.
Yeah.
Right.
Give it a shot.
Right. Cool. Well, Jay, thanks for being here. Taking us walk through all the stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Malavita, they make some great. Burton makes some great bindings, and this is a great category. You can get them with wingback, with an EST or reflex option, and leather as well. You can check out these bindings by selecting the link below in the description. Leave a comment or question. Let us know what you think of these things. We'll do our best to get the questions over to Jason if you have any directly for him. Other than that, subscribe to the channel there. Check out more vids there, and hopefully we'll see you guys on Snow. Peace.